Amazing. I'll get us started. Thank you so much for that introduction, Rich, and thank you everyone for being here today. We are facilitating social connectedness with seniors, or the Connectors Project. Here's our agenda for today. We'll start off by giving you some background information into our project space. We'll provide a brief overview of the methods that we used before delving into our results, including our themes and design principles. After that, we'll move on to explain how our findings will be implemented, and we'll conclude by going over the knowledge translation activities that we've engaged in. So I will get us started with our background. And at this point, I would like to take the time to introduce our project team. Although Rich already did a great job, we have Rabail Siddiqui, Joanna Law, Nirja Skantharaja, myself, Carly Thrower, and our supervisor, Dr. Joseph Fehrenbach. We would also like to thank our committee for their contributions and their ongoing support throughout the project, and that is Dr. Jim Slata, Alekia Johnson, Rosalie Berlin, and Laura Sermon. Again, thank you all very much. Our project worked with an adult day center to create programming that facilitates social connectedness in seniors. In this context, when we're talking about programming, we're talking about any organized activity, specifically those that are catered to the senior population. So this might include an exercise class, a knitting group, or a book club, for example. We chose to focus on community programming because we noticed a need in this area. When we spoke with our stakeholders and reviewed the literature, we found that community programming was frequently cited as a source of social connection. However, we heard from several community organizations that the abrupt shift to remote delivery due to COVID-19 had impacted their ability to create programming that facilitated social connection, and this was supported by low attendance and mixed reviews of new online program options. This decline in participation and engagement was particularly problematic for the health of seniors, as it can influence their social connectedness, and this is what we really wanted our project to focus on. Social connectedness is defined as a sense of belonging and subjective psychological bond that people feel in relation to individuals and groups of others, and its benefits are numerous. They include better cognitive health, economic benefit, engagement in a healthy lifestyle, improved quality of life, and decreased anxiety and loneliness. And so this slide just really highlights and reiterates what I've said already while showing the gap that we were trying to address through this project. On the left, you'll see the current state, which is programming that does not fulfill seniors' needs for social connectedness. And on the right, you'll see the desired state, which is programming that does meet this need. And we really sought to bridge the gap between these two states. To accomplish this, we partnered with Etobicoke Services for Seniors, or ESS, and they are an organization that provides a diverse range of program offerings, including caregiver support groups, adult day programs, and transportation services. We worked specifically with health and wellness program members, and health and wellness members are those that are not cognitively impaired and are largely independent. The programs offered through health and wellness include exercise classes, trivia, music programs, and more. So at this point, I'd like to pass it off to Rabail to go through our methods.
Thanks, Carly. So our methodology consisted of 4 stages. First, we conducted focus groups with seniors and ESS staff members to get a better idea of what social connectedness means to seniors and how they experience social connectedness, as well as a better understanding of the current state of programs. Following that, we did a thematic analysis that led to the development of something called design principles that Nirja will be going over. And then we invited participants back for a member check and brainstorm session to make sure that our findings from the focus groups were on par with what was said during the focus groups. And then we took that opportunity to also brainstorm program ideas with our participants using our findings from the focus groups. Following that, we shared our knowledge with ESS, and then we also used that knowledge to do a brainstorm session with them on a program idea that Joanna will be going over in a future slide. For recruitment, we were primarily aiming to recruit general public seniors, ESS registered seniors, and ESS staff members. To recruit general public seniors, we developed a video that advertised the opportunity to participate in a focus group for this study, which we dispersed all over social media. We also reached out to individuals in our network who also dispersed the opportunity through their social media, and also referred individuals that they think might be interested in participating in this opportunity. And then for recruiting ESS registered seniors and ESS staff members, we developed a poster that was sent through their email list to recruit them. And we ended up with 28 participants for our focus groups, and we had a very good retention rate for our member check and brainstorm session. Now I will dive into our thematic analysis results. So we had 5 categories of themes, starting with our barriers category. Themes of technology, health, distance, and COVID-19 related barriers were reported by participants when trying to connect with others. In terms of diversity of relationships, participants reported that they connected with friends, family, and community members, as well as on a superficial level and a more meaningful level. In terms of motivations for connecting, participants reported that having a common ground and receiving or providing support, as well as keeping in touch, were all motivators for connecting. In terms of elements of activities that facilitate connections, participants reported that having a shared experience, having familiarity or consistency in programs, having an outlet for expression, as well as physically feeling the presence of that individual next to you were all ways that they felt connected with others. And in terms of connecting remotely, participants reported using multiple mediums for social connections that led to increased opportunities for social connections as well. Now, there are some limitations that we need to be aware of. We had a very homogeneous turnout for our focus group participants. Primarily, they were female, under 85, Caucasian. Most had post-secondary education and all had internet access. We also had low staff participation. And as we are doing qualitative research, there is a risk that our own biases may translate into the findings. But to limit that as much as possible, we practice reflexivity throughout the analysis process. And as these focus groups were occurring during March and April of 2021, so 1 year post-pandemic, conversations naturally centered around COVID-19. So that's something to also consider as we reviewed the results. Now, having developed these themes from our focus groups with seniors and staff members, we wanted to convert them into an outcome that could be more widely used and was more tangible. So we decided to develop design principles, which are high-level considerations to inform the decision-making process when developing and implementing programs. So now I'll turn it over to Nirja to go over those design principles.
Thanks, Rabail. So what you see on the slide here are the 5 design principles that were developed through our research findings and refined with help from seniors, staff, our supervisor, and our advisory committee. And these design principles provide fundamental advice for how to develop programming so that it has the best chance of facilitating social connectedness. The principles themselves, as Rabail mentioned, are very high level. However, in order to make them easier to apply, our group supplements them with specific suggestions for each principle. And in this presentation, we will refer to those specific suggestions as programming considerations. With that, I'll head into our first design principle, which is to ensure psychological safety within programming. What we heard was that seniors would explain their diversity of their relationships, and one thing became evident across the board. And it was that they felt safe connecting with individuals who were open, compassionate, and non-judgmental. And on this topic of creating a psychologically safe environment, we also found that seniors tended to feel overwhelmed in larger groups and had a harder time connecting in them. They had a preference for smaller groups, specifically in online settings where it's harder to organically break away. So what this means for programming now is that we need to include a personable facilitator within programming that embodies these characteristics of being open, compassionate, and non-judgmental. And then it would also be great to see smaller group sizes in programs. But if that's not possible, then at least to have opportunities to break away. And in online settings, this might look like incorporating breakout rooms. And in in-person settings, it might mean having a snack table that seniors can walk away to. Now, our second design principle is to cultivate connection through consistency, both when describing programming that they attended and general interactions with friends and family members. Seniors mentioned that seeing the same people at the same times in the same ways helped them to connect. And it's because of this consistency over time that they were more likely to initiate and develop connections. What this means for programming now is that we need to provide seniors with opportunities for interaction between the same participants. And we can facilitate this by having programming scheduled on a consistent basis. And it can also help to incorporate consistent practices, such as playing music at the start of each session, into the programming so that it becomes kind of a ritual. And rituals have been shown to have a high linkedness to community building. And the third design principle is to enable and encourage conversation. Conversations with others was a key method of connection. Seniors in the focus group described instances where the facilitator would not allow the seniors to speak during the programs and there was a rigid structure. So this power dynamic and rigidity proved to be a barrier to connection building. So what we suggest is that we not only provide opportunities for conversation within programming, but we also empower participants to use these spaces. And that could be done through the facilitator by them having conversation starters and engaging participants that way. And our fourth design principle is to promote meaningful membership. So feelings of belonging motivated seniors to connect with others. And one avenue that we found helped seniors connect with others and feel belonged into a group was through providing and receiving support. Providing support could mean lending a listening ear to a friend, while receiving support could mean getting groceries dropped off from a family member. And these types of connections provided seniors with a sense of belonging as they made them feel valued and appreciated within their social circles. In addition to feeling that they belong to the group, it's also important that seniors feel accepted. So what this means for programming is that we need to create a sense of membership within the program. And this can be done by in online settings, perhaps everyone having access to the same Zoom backgrounds, or even giving each participant a little trinket to indicate that they are part of this group together. It can also help to have participants once they're in that group to feel accepted and potentially provide opportunities for reciprocity. And that could take the form of having a carpool sign-up sheet so that participants feel that they are contributing to this group, but also perhaps receiving support from them as well. And the fifth and last design principle is to address accessibility needs. So there are many barriers that prevented seniors from learning about, accessing, and participating in programming. The most common barriers reported were in regards to technology, physical limitations, and language. What this means for programming is that we need to support participants in accessing and using technology, and we also need to offer accommodations based on their specific needs. It can also help to diversify communication channels. And what we mean by this is that seniors learn about these programs in different ways. So by presenting these opportunities for programming through social media, presentations at their residences, and pamphlets, we can reach more seniors. And then the last consideration here is to have options for non-English speakers so that not speaking English is not synonymous with not being able to connect socially. And now I'll pass it off to Joanna to speak about implementation of our findings.
Thank you, Nirja, and I will move on to the implementation. So using the 5 design principles that Nirja has just described, our team, along with ESS staff and management, co-created a welcome program. These ideas came out of multiple brainstorming sessions with staff, seniors, and management. And this program will help engage new members and actively facilitate their integration into ESS to establish social connectedness. The program has 3 components: a peer ambassador program where new members are connected with trained current members of ESS to assist in the new members' journey in the organization, a welcome package containing materials to ease the onboarding process, and an orientation session where a group of new members are invited to a meeting to learn more about ESS, have the opportunity to open welcome packages, and meet their assigned peer ambassadors. That being said, we also presented this program proposal to ESS staff and ESS seniors, and we have also compiled a video of some of their testimonials.
I mean, even though for those of us who don't mind going out of our comfort zone and into something new, even for us, it's nice to have somebody there who knows the ropes and who can explain things to us. And so I think that's a really really good idea.
It's like such a good idea. And then there's so many people in programs that love being like leaders.
And I like the idea that there's a training for the ambassadors. I think that's important.
Yeah. I think that the program is very strong because I think there is a need for people to connect.
And it also gives some people some confidence to do something else, to engage in other activities that they wouldn't have done on their own.
And there's like specific clients that I can think of that like would love this because just like it gives them a new friend too. Like both people get a new friend.
And with their positive feedback about the program, we are eager to be able to implement it in the near future. So next, we will move on to the knowledge translation part of our research findings and design principles. As a part of our knowledge translation part, we have disseminated our research process and outcomes in 3 conferences in the past year: the AgeWell EPIC Conference, the ESS Real Conference, and the LMP Research Conference. We have also developed resources and tools based on our 5 design principles to guide organizations that would like to improve social connectedness within their programs. This includes a 4-page implementation guide, a program evaluation survey, and a Lean Canvas worksheet for program building. All of these resources are also accessible on our website. The next steps for our project would be to develop our research findings into a commercial venture with the Center of Aging and Brain Health Innovation, in which we will have the opportunity to leverage their network and resources to develop a potential tangible product, and to look to publish a manuscript in the journal Progress in Community Health Partnerships, Research, Education, and Action, and finally, fully implement the new member program in ESS by this October. So over the past year, we completed project proposals, RUB and grant applications, participant recruitment, data collection and analysis, and presentations at various conferences. Each step in the process allowed us to continuously learn about the various aspects that are important in research and research implementation, such as stakeholder engagement, collaborative problem solving, qualitative design, and community-based research methods, and as well as keeping an open mind while navigating multiple points of view. So thank you for your attention and your time. Again, we would like to thank the support of our advisory committee and Joseph, along with all of the seniors and ESS staff that participated in our project and provided their experience and knowledge in the past year. Now we welcome any questions that you may have.